as you become a future citizens of the world. So take all these challenging roles. So maybe few can go for teaching, but the other few take up all these new challenges and then bring some change in the society, and which can happen only through you people, through BS students, not BCom, not BSc. From you people, you should bring that some sportiveness and challenge, change in the world through all these areas like political area, journalism area. Still, what else you have? Economics area. So all these three mainstreams, history and all, so bring some change in the society. I want you all to concentrate more on research programs. You take up any course in your life for the after degree, but don't leave research. The ma'am will motivate you. She will tell what are the outcomes of research. She will tell all that. And so take up the research and do something, then you'll become like another Malala. Malala, her name is Malala. You don't know her name. What is her name? So you should become one type of that personality where she is completely projected in the society through her great challenges. So you should become another that type of personality and you take up all the challenges and you should do the research. Then only you will become a great personality in the society. So all the best. So thank you, ma'am, for accepting our invitation. Hope you will first you, motivate our faculty for the research. Sunita, I'm telling you, to motivate the faculty first towards the research, then students. If they are into the research that field, then definitely they can draw even students towards it. Please strengthen the research, ma'am, in our college, in this stream, in the BS students, sorry, in the BS stream, and see that they become good researchers. So I want that. So please see that our students grab something from you and from your experience. Thank you, ma'am, and thank you, Shama, ma'am, who had agreed to be a chief guest. And great personalities are here. Please learn something from them and do something, some research in our life. Thank you so much for giving this opportunity, Sunita, and may God bless you and all the best.
Thank you, Sister Principal, for your insightful words and continuous encouragement and support. Your leadership truly motivates us all. Next, we have the honor of welcoming our chief guest for the seminar. I request Sunita ma'am to read the profile of our guest.
Thank you, Rita and Mehreen. It is my immense pleasure to introduce our chief guest. Miss Shama is a compassionate, enthusiastic, and a resourceful individual with a deep commitment to education. Madam is an internationally certified trainer. She has trained over 2,000 teachers, guiding them to become a passionate educators. She holds a degree in commerce and a diploma in early childhood care and education. In addition to that, Madam has earned a diploma in puppetry from Kalasutri and completed the Global Teacher Development Program in Illinois University in collaboration with Advantage. Ma'am served as head of the department for primary at MS Educational Academy, where she led a team of more than 200 teachers. Her innovative ideas and creative approach is earned her the Transformational Pedagogue Award within a year of her joining. She has organized numerous workshops for educators in various states of India, focusing on professional development and fostering a love for teaching. Currently, Madam is training manager for MS Teacher Training Academy, where she leads the team and serves as a senior faculty member. She believes that teaching is not a profession, it is a passion. My heartfelt thanks to Madam for accepting the invitation in a short note despite her busy schedule. Thank you, Madam. Now I invite you to deliver some motivational words to our students to become a good educators in their future.
Good morning, everybody. So I am happy to be a part of this program, and I'm happy to see that I'm
addressing tomorrow's change makers, as rightly Sister Man said. Are you all going to be the change makers there from tomorrow? That's needed, right? Don't be one among a BA student. Be a change maker. Yeah? With that positive note, let us begin our program. So, as quoted by Benjamin Franklin, an investment in knowledge pays the best interest. Research is essential for advancing knowledge, solving problems, and fostering innovation across various domains. Economic research makes way for policy development, economic growth, productivity, and open new markets. Research pushes the boundaries of existing knowledge, uncovering new ideas and theories. It helps in filling the gaps where information is missing or inadequate. Our country needs young minds like you to contribute for national growth, for equipping themselves with the needed knowledge and acquire 21st century skills, which is very, very important. Research methodologies are useful in various fields like science and technology, healthcare, medicine, business management, psychology, and education. So there's a lot of scope for BA students, as Sister Ann has rightly said and pointed out. Teaching and research are also very closely related. As a teacher trainer, I motivate my students to think out of the box because thinking is the food of the brain. The more you think, the more smarter you become. It is great to know that for this two-day National Level Student Development Program, the Economic Department has invited Professor Kasturi Alaiman. Then we are waiting for Dr. Shankar Chatterjee. Both eminent educators are here to share their vast experiences, knowledge, insights, and aspects of research methodology. Yeah, that is need of the hour. I'm sure the students will take maximum advantage from this workshop and they will choose the best practices to select a topic and then conduct research successfully. So I wish you all the best and please be attentive, take up all the knowledge that we can and put it into practice. Because as Einstein said, application, knowledge without application is no knowledge. Yeah? So application of knowledge is very, very important for individual benefit as well as the benefit of people around you, society as well as the nation. So I wish you all the best, and I see that you all will be future change makers and national builders. We all should be a contributor to a society. Yeah, that is what we should believe in. So it's a privilege to be a part of the program. Thank you for inviting me, and have a great day. And wish you all success, students.
Thank you, ma'am, for your inspiring insights. We are greatly grateful for your presence and wisdom. I would like to take the honor of introducing our first guest of honor, Kasturi Aliwelu, ma'am. Ma'am is an associate professor of economics in the Center for Economic and Social Studies (CESS) in Hyderabad, where she has been a faculty member since 2007. Madam holds a PhD in development studies with a specialization in economics and an MA in economics from the University of Hyderabad. Her research interests focus on the manufacturing sector, MSMEs, regional inequalities in industrial performance, services, especially railways, water and sanitation, and sustainable development goals. Currently, Dr. Alivedu Ma'am is serving as the Dean of the Division for Graduate Studies at CESS. She has also held the position of Registrar at CESS during two separate terms. Over the years, she has published extensively with one book, one edited volume, 29 articles, including 5 in international journals, as well as numerous monographs, working papers, and research projects. Ma'am has participated in various international seminars and workshops in countries like Sweden, the Netherlands, Germany, and Austria, representing India in events hosted by prestigious institutions such as the German Development Institute, United Nations Industrial Development Organization, and the Federal Ministry of Germany. We are delighted to have you, ma'am, and we look forward to learning from you.
Yeah, very good morning to all of you. I think it's such a motivating speech. So I'm looking forward. The BA students always excel. I think this is a crown for you all, and you all should feel proud about what has been said by the principal of this institute. Right? So I will start because I'm the speaker today, and then I'm honored to be here. I thank Sunita. I think Sunita is my student, and she was doing my post graduation. She was doing a post graduation, and then I think last year I was yeah last year seminar. Last year I was invited as a keynote speaker in one of the institute, and she saw me there and she came running to me. I think that is the best thing which we can see between the student and the teacher. As a teacher, you feel happy, and as a student, you all feel happy. I think that is the motivating force for all of us. So, having said this, I thank Sunita and St.Ann. I thank Sunita and the St.Ann's College for calling me over here. We are thoroughly into research. Like our organization, it is Center for Economic and Social Studies. It's a social science institution catering to the disciplines of economics, political science, and then sociology. Earlier we had statistics and geography, but now we are confined to these three. So we do a lot of research, and research, as Madam wanted me to motivate you all, I think both the faculty and the teachers. So the faculty also is very essential to do research. And research is not just confined to your own discipline, just not in economics, just not in political science and social. It is multidisciplinary. I think all of us should come together from different disciplines and see what can be done. In fact, we have done a research with Manchester University some time back, where the topic was on state business relationships. That is, how the states interact with the businesses and how the businesses really take benefit from the state. It was a multidisciplinary research project where the political scientists were involved, the economists were involved, and it was done both in Africa and India. Within India, we have seen states like Andhra Pradesh, that time it was United Andhra Pradesh. Then we also saw states like Odisha and West Bengal. So how the state governments are really helping the businesses to grow, or whether they're hampering the businesses to grow. Amongst these three states, we found large difference in terms of the relationship between these two. Like Andhra Pradesh was having a good relationship in terms of businesses, while West Bengal is a labor union which was dominating the entire manufacturing activity. While in Odisha, we saw that the political leaders were not really contributing to the growth of business in Odisha. So these kind of insights, the political scientists were looking from the leader's point of view, because I remember this as your principal was talking about political science. So the political scientists were looking the kind of leadership. What was a political party which was in existence? Who was a leader at that particular point of time? And how he or she guided the entire business. And as economists, we were looking at the actual data. Odisha, over a period of time, what is the data? And relating it with the political scientists, seeing that if supposing the output has decreased in a certain point of time, is it because of the political leadership? So it's just an introduction to tell you that just don't confine yourself to your own discipline. You can interact with others and then start looking at these kind of multidisciplinary research. You're all going out of the college, you will be doing your masters, and ultimately maybe you should also concentrate on research. So with this few words, let me start. I'll today my overview of my presentation will be on what is a research problem, right? We are starting with research methodology workshop. So what is a research problem? Once I talk about the research problem, I try to link it up with the review of literature, because we have to read. Always, I think today also someone was telling that we are asking our students to read the articles. So uh, reading is reading is very, very important. So once I talk about the research problem, I say how to find out the justification for your research problem. Correct? Then we will go on to see the ethics in research. There are some ethics in research. You just can't go and do the research as you want to. You have to follow some guidelines which are given. There are codes of conduct for conducting the research issue. Then plagiarism, I think these days we are hearing a lot about copyright. Somebody is taking your own work, yeah, and supposing excess producing, writing some article, why is picking up all that and then publishing it as her work. So which is called as plagiarism, and this is against the rule of research. And finally, I'll conclude any question and answers, and Ganika, I'm ready to answer your question. So let me start. In your own idea, what do you think a research problem is? Anybody can tell? I'm talking about the research problem, not about the problem. What is the research problem? Any idea? Yeah, someone is raising a hand. Let's just start the session.
Choosing the title.
Choosing the
Title.
okay, then yeah,
Not finding proper text to refer from.
yeah, okay. Is domestic violence a problem? A research problem? Yeah. Is it a research problem? You all know that there is domestic violence. You want to do research on that, right? So domestic violence can become a research problem. Similarly, lack of clean drinking water. Is it a research problem? Yes. So lack of that is also. So you have some idea that is you want to look into domestic abuse, right? Or you want to look at lack of or access to lack of clean drinking water. You have a problem in your mind and you want to do research on that. So what is the research problem? It is a statement about an area of concern. What is the area of our concern given this kind of problem? Our area of concern is domestic violence, right? Then it is a condition to be improved, right? Domestic violence should not be there. Domestic violence, so you have an area of concern. Then next you are thinking how to remove that problem. So it's a condition to be improved. It's a difficulty to be eliminated. Domestic violence should not be there. So it is a difficulty to be eliminated, or it can be a troubling question. Domestic violence, how do you really know that there is domestic violence? Unless the woman comes forward and tells us, yes, I'm being abused or I'm being subject to violence. So it's a troubling question. You know that there is domestic violence, but when you go for a survey, okay, you select about 10 households, you're going there and then you're asking them to tell you whether there is domestic violence. Will the woman come forward and let you know? Because she has so many other things which are surrounding her. If she tells you, maybe she will be abused more, or they might throw her out of the house. So this is a troubling person. So this is a research problem. And how do you know that this problem is there? How do we know that domestic violence is there? How did we come to know? Maybe we heard from someone, or it is there in the literature. Some work is being done on the domestic violence. Then it is also there in practice because you are seeing in person. Practically, you're seeing that the woman is being domestically abused. So this means that you really want to, what is that you want to bring out of this research problem? What should be the outcome of if you're researching on this particular problem of domestic violence? What do you want to happen? Can anybody answer this? You want the domestic violence to be eliminated completely, right? Ultimately, if you are taking a project on domestic violence, the last thing, the outcome of that project is that you want that domestic violence to be eliminated completely. So you say that you have to have a meaningful understanding and then deliberative investigation. Right? You select a sample of households, you go to a nearby area where you know that domestic violence is happening. You go there, you have a questionnaire, And one thing, when I come to the ethics in research, I'll get you how to use the questionnaire and how to ask the question. So you cannot ask them directly that are you abused. You have to bring them to that kind of situation. You have to interact with them. You have to bring that rapport between you and the women, and then slowly start getting into the question. So you are doing a deliberate investigation. Right? You know that there is domestic violence, but the woman has to come forward. For that, you have to create the environment. Okay? Then it is a specific issue, as I told, this domestic violence or lack of access to drinking water is a specific issue. Then we are trying to address that issue. Right? If you're talking about lack of access to drinking water, right? In Telangana, we have this Mission Bhagirath, right? Mission Bhagirath, the project aim was to supply treated, clean drinking water within the household premises, right? Except Hyderabad, all the other 32 districts have been supplied with taps in their premises. But how many of them are drinking this water? Right? They all know that it is treated, it is clean, it can be taken directly from the tap to drink. But we did a survey when we went to the districts, they're not ready to drink that water because we have been used to that concept of drinking RO water or we have distillery water. So they say that the government is telling that water is coming, but we are not sure. So we have to create a kind of awareness amongst the household, saying that yes, this water is treated, it can be taken directly from the tap. There's no need to boil or there's no need to filter. So the project, this is the research project aims to address, right? There is an issue. They are trying to create awareness. It is well defined. A research problem is always well defined. Like you are talking about pollution. Pollution, you know there is pollution. So it is always well defined, it is clear, and it is based on evidence. Research problem is always based on evidence. You cannot talk in the air saying that this is a research problem. You're seeing it in practical world and then you're trying to investigate. Yeah. How much time I have?
Ma'am, up to two.
So then when do we write this research problem? Right? I think they're already afraid 2 hours what I don't worry. I'll not make
Can't
you.
ask another question.
Yeah. I'll make them do. No, they'll all do one group activity. Let them all do group activity. So the research problem, where do you write the research problem? Right? You want to research on pollution, you want to research on access to water, you want to research on COVID-19 vaccination. Is it good or is it bad? So you want to do research on those things. So where do you write this statement? Now we are talking about the statement of research problem. The statement of the research problem should always come in the beginning of your proposal. Right? I'm planning to do research on COVID-19 vaccination, whether it is acceptable, whether everybody in US, most of the youth have not taken the COVID-19 vaccination. Whereas in India, I think we had long queues to take the vaccination. Why? Why is it? So that is to make a comparison between the US vaccination takers and the India vaccination takers. So this statement is always written in the beginning of the proposal. Always you say that this is what I want to do. You should start with your project with that sentence. Yeah. Then these are the examples, what I was talking about, examples of a research statement. So the first is rural communities across Ghana lack access to clean water, leading to high rates of waterborne diseases. So because of lack of access to drinking water, there is infant mortality among the baby, and there is also the prevalence of waterborne illness. Then the other example can be health disparities, pollution, domestic violence, drug use. I think you can keep on adding depending upon your awareness on the research problems. You can think of few examples of that. Yeah. Then the steps is that you are identifying the problem. I already mentioned this. There should be some knowledge or information that is needed. Like you should know that this problem is existing. There is some knowledge on that. and then the desire to identify like national, it can be a national level study, it can be an individual level study, or it can be a small group study led by few students or scholars. Yes. Then what is a good research project? You should have a serious academic study. I think research requires serious academic focus. Without that, you just cannot do research, right? So it should be extensive, right? It should have the characteristics to make it researchable, right? Then only you should choose that topic. It so happens that most of our scholars, they come to us with a topic. But when they start reading about that topic, they'll see that no data is available on that. Or the data which is available is only for 1 year, with which they cannot give any results. So they go back on the research problem that they have suggested, and then they look for alternative research. So always a research problem should be extensive or important, and it is basically depends on the author. Author here means the scholar, me, or your faculty, Sunita, or anyone. So it should depend on the rationale of the scholar, right? You should be able to do research when you're talking about drugs, use of drugs. You can whether you can do research on that or not. That is the main. Next. Then how it should be, how the research problem should be. I think these are very important for you at this graduation stage. Be compelling. That is, it should be important for you and to the larger community. Right? Everybody should come to know that this problem is to be solved. Right? This is the problem which is existing. So it should be important to you and a larger community. It should be researchable, right? You should have the resources in terms of time, in terms of finances, and in terms of your data availability. So this is also very important. Then the problem should be realistic to investigate. The problem exists, and then you want to investigate. Then be clear and specific. Whatever you want to do, be clear. Don't have too many complicated problems, right? You say that 4 problems I want to research, all is 4. You cannot do unless those 4 are interrelated to each other. So take the problem which you can really work upon, which is focused and which will really contribute to the policy, right? With the research, what is that you're going to tell? You're going to tell the government that no, this is what has to be done. If domestic violence has to be reduced, see that the women is empowered. How the women is empowered? By providing literacy to her, make her independent, provide skills to her. I think Shema Madam was telling that we are providing skills. So you're making a woman independent and making her to stand against kind of domestic violence. So that is what is required, which should come from the research. You're contributing to the economy, you're telling the policy makers that this is to be done. And never be biased in your research. Never be biased. Somebody is giving you money to do the research. Like we get lot of projects, international projects, UNICEF, ILO, all World Bank. They give us money to do research. But then our research cannot be biased because UNICEF is giving us the money. Or UNCTAD is giving us the money. ILO is no. Our research is based on facts. We say that this is what is happening. These are the interventions which are to be made at this particular point of time. So it should be always unbiased, it should be practical, and then it can be critical too. It can be critical because unless you criticize the work, the results will not come. We cannot be soft on the data that is available. Then be rooted in evidence. That is what I am saying. Be rooted in evidence. Evidence is showing that there is a kind of drug use going on. There is no proper water. There is no proper sanitation there. So you have to really focus on that and see that the policy makers concentrate on this. Then consider ethical guidelines. I will let you know what are the ethical guidelines. Yeah, then it should be measurable. You should be able to measure. That is, you should have the data available. Domestic violence in how many households? Is it happening in state of Telangana? Or is it happening in state of Kerala, Tamil Nadu or Delhi? You are making a comparison across the states. For that you need to have the data which is available. So you need to search for data on domestic violence, secondary data if it is available, then make a comparison. Say that Delhi is having more domestic violence compared to Tamil Nadu. Tamil Nadu is doing better because of these initiatives. So the same initiatives can be replicated in Delhi. So it should have theoretical, conceptual, I think maybe we can skip this. So whatever problem you are selecting, you should see that theory backs it up. How many of you know about Kinetic theory? I think that girl is already feeling bored. Yeah? How many of you know about Kinetic theory? Yeah, what is Kinetic theory? She's my friend here, Sunita. She stays in our campus.
Oh, okay.
Her father is staff.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Kinetic theory. Kinetic theory talks about government intervention. Right? It says that government intervention is essential for the economy to grow. So if you are researching on a particular problem, you should see whether this theory is made applicable to your justification of the problem. Next. Then the sources of research problem are interviews. You're talking to someone and you're able to know that there is this problem. You personal experiences, personally you have seen someone having this kind of problem. Deductions from theory, you're reading the theory and you're saying that this problem might exist. So let me go and see this problem. Interdisciplinary perspective, I was talking about political science, economics and social. So it should be always a kind of interdisciplinary. I think as students of BA, you have also BA political science, you have BA psychology. You should try to interact with the other disciplines and find that this is what I'm thinking about the research problem. What is your perspective from political science point of view? Or what is your perspective from psychology point of view? And then you should also read relevant literature. Yeah. Then I think we can skip this. How do you write a research problem in your study? I said it should be in the beginning of the research study. So you identify that, learn more about the problem. You should be able to say whether this can be researched or not. Review. You find out the literature that is available on that particular topic. Right? You're talking about drug use. Is any literature available? What is that literature telling? Then you determine the relationship between variables. In drug use, who will be the variables? The persons who are using the drugs and how much amount of drug they are using. So those are the variables. So you should be able to determine the variables. Domestic violence, who will be the variables? The women who is subjected to domestic violence and what kind of violence that is she is being subjected. Is it beating or is it physical or is it mental abuse or she's not able to, she's not allowed to go out of the home. So you have to identify what variables will come in this kind of activity. Then select and include important variables. You include only the important variables. You will find about 20 variables. All 20 variables will not solve your research problem. So select only which are important. Receive the feedback. That is what we do at our center. Once the student comes up with a proposal, we all sit, listen to him or her, and then we give suggestions. We say that no, you missed one of the important variables. Maybe you have to add this or this. So always receive feedback and yeah. Then, so the selection is based on interest, your expertise. If you're coming from an economics discipline, select the topic which is in your area of discipline. Later on, you can make it multidisciplinary. Don't go for political science where you're talking about leadership and all because we don't know much about that. So from your area, you select, and then whether the data is available or not, whether the data you are researching will you research, whether the data is available or not, relevance and ethics. Yeah. Then there are different kinds of research problems. One is theoretical research issues. Then applied research issues is that you are applying. Are you all doing statistics? Are you all doing statistics? So you are using statistics to research your problem. That is, you're looking at the percentage shares, or looking at the growth, you're looking at the mean, median, mode. So that is called as applied research. By using that applied research, your results are being good. Then the action research. Action is what I was talking about, Mission Bhagirath. Mission Bhagirath is there, but you need to create awareness among the people. So that is action. You're putting action on the people and asking them to use that particular facility created by the government. Exploratory research issues is which have not been researched much. There are some topics which are not researched. Like if you look at self-help groups, a lot of work has been done on self-help groups. If you look at financial inclusion, a lot of work has been done. If you look at mergers and acquisition of banks, lot of work. But exploratory is that which is not researched. Recently, one of our scholar, she is doing research on dance teachers. That is economic well-being of the teachers of dance. It is not research. When she searched for the review of literature, it was not available. So finally, we had to look at whole theatre arts and then link it up with dance. So exploratory is, which is not researched much. Descriptive is that you are telling it as a story. I think the political scientists and the sociologists and psychologists, they tell it as a story, whereas economists use figures and data to tell. So this is a kind of narrative. Deductive. What is deduction and what is induction? Economics. What is deduction? Economics students.
Yes, they should answer.
Yeah, they should answer. It is sometimes they should talk. What is deductive theory? What is inductive theory? Deductive theory is that you are going from general to particular. Inductive theory is that you are going from particular to general. To give an example, simple example, we say that demand creates its own demand. Supply creates its own demand. That is what we start with in economics. So that is deductive. You're talking in a broader term and then seeing whether it is happening with the people or not. Inductive is you're starting from like the prices are increasing. Prices of onions are increasing. So what will happen to the demand? Onions now it is 100 rupees a kg. Demand will decrease. So you're talking from a particular point. You're taking the example of onions and then saying that earlier I used to buy 10 kgs, now I'm getting 5 kgs. So because of the price increase, the demand decreases. So that is you're going to the broad. Yeah. Yes, next. So we can skip this process, population. Yeah, I already said this. We have to formulate the research problem. Yeah. Next. Types of research problems. Descriptive problems, what I said earlier. Causal problems is that it can be two-way, right? When you are having financial inclusion leads to economic growth. Then it can be the other way around also. Because of economic growth, there is financial inclusion. So that is called as two-way relationship or causal relationship. Then you have more variables. Instead of two variables, you will have like this side you are talking about financial inclusion. The other side you say that because of financial inclusion, there is economic growth, there is more literacy, there is more women who are getting financially. So you are having more variables. Yeah, next. Then always you should have a good research problem. Always they should have an interest in the problem area. Like in morning they will say you should have a passion for teaching. Then only you can be successful as a teacher. If I just come and talk, no, I should be passionate about my profession. Similarly, the research problem should have a passion in the research area. I want to really do research on this. Some of our students say that, madam, we are going to do research only on this. However much you try to convince them, however much we say that no, data is not available, you will not be able to do, your time will not be able. They say no, I have research in this area. The dance student who wanted to research on dance, we tried to discourage her because we didn't have the faculty who could really guide on her. But she stuck to her thing and she said, I want to do research on the well-being of dance teachers. So we had to find the faculty outside our institute and then attach her as a student. So the data should be accessible. When you are doing the work, the data should be Yeah, then this we can. So once we have this, we know the research problem. We have to read. Literature review is very, very important. You know there is problem of sanitation, but where, in which part of India it is happening? Or is it happening in rural areas? It is happening in urban areas? Or is it happening among a group of people? Or among a social group? Or among a particular social group? Or is it happening in Islam areas? So for that, you need to read. So that is called as review of literature. I think as students of graduation, all of you should read. How many of you go to the library? All of you, what do you read there? What do you read? Yeah, related to your paper or something outside economics. Okay, within economics, what do you read? Maybe Sunita madam has taken a class on micro demand consumption theory or markets. Do you read only that in the library or you try to expand your knowledge? I think most of you read that and then come back. What I advise you is that whenever you get time, you try to read. Maybe some faculty is coming to your class and talking about monopoly. They are talking about duopoly. They are talking about oligopoly or profit competition. You learn what is to be taught in the class, but outside that, can we have some kind of practical examples? Practically, if duopoly is there, what is happening duopoly? So try to expand it. So that is called as review of literature. I think we can read that talk. Then there are four. Yeah. There are four parts of literature review. First is you have to develop a topic. I think till now we were talking about that only, research problem. Then you have to search the literature. What the literature is saying about that particular topic and narrowing the scope. Right? You should not say that I want to read about pollution. Pollution of what? There are so many kinds of pollution. There is air pollution, there is sound pollution, there is maybe the kind of pollution that is coming from the factories. There is pollution which is coming from the seas, which is coming from the lakes. Pollution is a broad term, but within pollution, what you want to study. That is it. So you are narrowing your scope. Then you are synthesizing, you are supposing you are talking about air pollution in Delhi. You have to see whether any studies have been conducted on air pollution in Delhi. So you are reading the review of literature first. Then the literature review is citing. Once you read an article, you have to cite that article. You have to say that Alivelu 2015 has written about this in this particular journal. These are the findings of our study, of her study. Or you say maybe by what's your name? Yeah? Ritika 2020 has written on air pollution in Delhi and her findings say this. So you're trying to read the study. Then you're comparing and contrasting. Are there similar kinds of air pollution? What that particular study is saying, what is the second study saying? Then you're contrasting. You're saying that this study is talking only about Delhi, whereas the other study is making a comparison between Delhi and the other states or other countries. Then you're criticizing. I think this is very important in research. Criticizing in terms of logical thinking. Right? Criticizing is not saying that, oh, she has written badly or this paper is bad. This is not. No. Criticizing in this paper is bad because it has not considered this particular data into consideration, which is required. For air pollution, some data is required. So you are measuring the carbon dioxide, you are measuring the level of oxygen. If that is missing, then that is your critic. So you have to be logical in criticizing the paper and then connecting. Connecting is also important. That paper, maybe my paper has not talked about the oxygen levels in Delhi. So you connect it. When you do the study, you say that since the previous paper has not researched about this aspect, I'm trying to look at this one. Yeah. So literature review, it's like it is already published. It is already published. It is available in books, articles. Then it is also it provides a description. You're trying to synthesize that article. You're trying to learn from that article. Yeah, then you can see this. The aim is to collect relevant, timely research on your chosen topic. You have to collect whatever literature is available. Then you have to summarize the entire research. Yeah, next. Then they provide background information. They will guide you how to go about your research. Because something is already there. You're learning and trying to implement for yourself. Then next. Then what are the functions? They improve your research methodology. They tell you that this is what is happening in your research area. Then you will have more idea whether it is political in nature, whether it is economics in nature, or whether it is sociological in nature. So you get an idea of what is happening in your research area. And then you try to collaborate your results with the existing studies. Right? That is what is happening. Normally, if you look at any kind of concept, we say that urban areas are doing better than rural areas. That is the general theory. Urban areas in terms of education. Urban areas are doing better in terms of education when compared to the rural areas in the state of Telangana. But your study says that that is the general idea. We always think education is good in urban areas. But your research shows that literacy rates in rural areas are better than urban areas in Telangana. What does it mean? It means that you're going against the existing theory. There's nothing wrong if you're going against existing theory, but you should be able to defend your arguments. Why rural areas are doing better in literacy? You see that so many graduates are there in rural areas. So much high school students are there. Their percentage of marks is higher than comparatively. So you have to contextualize your findings. Yes. I think we'll go to ethics and research. Yeah, ethics is very important. You have to have like you're doing a primary survey. You want to find out maybe within your college, within BA and BSc, you have to find out how many of them are getting first class. Is it first class now? Okay. How many of them are getting first class and how many of them are getting second class? So you make a questionnaire, right? You write a question, name of the student, stream in which studying, first year, second year, or third year, and then you ask how many marks did you get? Okay? How many marks? In nice way that please let me know how many marks you got. Okay? You should also tell that I came for this purpose. That is, when I'm approaching one of you, I should come and tell you that I'm doing a research study on finding out which group is doing better in terms of performance, whether it be political science, economics, psychology, or sociology or history, whatever it is. Then I should ask you whether you're ready to give me the information. So I'm taking your consent for conducting research. That is the first research ethics principle. I'm taking your consent. If you say yes, I'll proceed with my question. But if you say no, if you say that no, I don't want to give you this information. I just have to leave you and then come out. I cannot convince, as a researcher, I cannot convince the respondent to give me this information. If the respondent says that I'm not ready to give you the information, you leave that respondent and go to the information. So you're taking the consent, you're making the student sign in that questionnaire form. That is the first page of your consent form. You have to get the signature done, and then you should proceed with the further. Okay. Then you have to protect the participants, right? You don't say, I did this research, oh, that girl got only so many marks, she's so bad, I don't want to really talk to her all these days. I thought she's good. No, no, don't do this. This is, you have to protect the participants. The other students should not know with whom you are interacting. And you should never write the student's name in your research report. You should always be A, B, C, or E. That's it. So never mention the names, don't forget it, and you have to maintain the integrity. And one more thing is that when you're going for a primary survey, if the scholar is, or not the scholar, if the respondent is sitting down, sometimes we go to the slum areas, we go to the Anganwadis, we go to the primary health care centers. The teachers are sitting down. I cannot sit on a chair and ask questions to them. Either I have to ask her to sit on a chair next to me, or I should sit down with her and then do the research survey. So these are the basic ethics. Right? Next, next, next. Then you have to conduct research responsibly and you have to analyze the data appropriately. I was telling previously, some organization has given you money or St.Ann has given me money saying that you conduct research. I cannot be biased. I have to tell the fact saying that this is what is happening in St.Ann. You're giving me money. You're giving me money for conducting the research. So I should not expect any favor from the funding agency. Neither the funding agency can influence me to give the results of what they want. So I have to be unbiased, I have to be critical, and I have to present the facts as they are. So this is the best part of the research. That is not being done by any other political institutions. So as researchers, we really have to say what the facts are. Yeah. Next. What is the ethics of research? I already told you. The guidelines. We go to the guidelines. Yeah. Honesty. This is the first guideline for ethics in research. Right? Honestly report the data, which I was telling now. Honestly report the data, the results, methods, and everything should be transparent. No hiding of the data, no hiding of the methodology, no messing up with the data, and do not fabricate. Do not fabricate, do not give false interpretations or misinterpretations. Do not deceive your colleagues. Do not, because you are working in a team. So do not deceive your colleagues, research sponsors, or the public. Whatever is coming from the research, you have to report. Next, then objectivity. You have to be objective. You say that this is avoid bias. I already told you that. Avoid bias and then do not disclose personal or financial interests. Okay? We should not affect the research process. Yes. Integrity, I already told you that you have to act sincerely. Then you have to be very careful. Avoid careless errors and negligence. You're entering the data. Maybe you're surveying a sample of 100 students. You have to enter the data of all the 100 students. Okay? You don't enter 50 students and double it up and say that I've entered the 100. So don't mess up with the data. Don't falsify the results or and then critically examine. I think we have lot of discussions when our projects are going on. We almost criticize the others, but criticizing in terms of quality of the work, not to belittle the other colleague or not. But we say that this is how it should be done. This is what the theory says, this is what the literature. So you have to really criticize in a right way your colleagues who are in the process of this accountability, yeah, intellectual property. This is very important. Once you are done with the project, we always mention draft not to be copied, draft not to be copied, or draft not to be published without the permission of the author. Right? Somebody will just take a we do everything, and somebody just copies and poses in their own lecture. So that we should not happen. So we always say there's a copyright for this. If you want to publish a part of this article, you have to take permission from the team who has done this work. Okay, next. Then confidentiality. That is what I told you. When you are asking about a particular scholar, don't go and tell about this to the others. Confidentiality. Then they should be mentoring. You have to mentor and advise students. If I am the project head, I have to really give training to all of you saying that this is what has to be done. I have to train you, I have to give you the manual, I have to give you the guideline. This is the question that you are asking. These are the answers that you will be expecting. So I have to make a manual before I make you to go for a survey and then train you. And train you, I will make you do a mock exercise. One of you will be the respondent, one of you will be the person who is asking the question. So it's kind of mock presentations that has to happen. Yeah. Then respect for colleagues, I already said, is a social responsibility, non-discrimination. Never discriminate your colleagues or never discriminate your respondents. Don't say that you are from this area, you are from this class, you are from this language. No, you should always respect. Then, okay, we can skip this. If you are dealing with animals, I think that animal care is also very important. If you are doing some survey on dogs, pet animals, you really have to care for the animal. Yeah. Okay, this I already said, confidentiality, informed consent, I said that you should take the signature. Then anonymity, you use A, B, C, D instead of the picture or Parveen or someone, you have to keep them anonymous, yeah. Then protection from harm, protecting children. You know, sometimes we go and do survey or if we go to the Anganwadi centers, we measure the weight of the child, we measure the height of the child. But while taking those kind of measurements, we should be very careful not to harm the child. Or we cannot beat and ask the child, you tell me this. No. So you have to really take care of these integrities of the research. Yeah. Then ethical codes, which we already finished, ethical codes are those. Last one is plagiarism. What is plagiarism? Do you know what is plagiarism? Have you ever heard of this? Yes? Okay. Someone from behind, can they answer? I put your yes from here. What is plagiarism? Yeah. Representing other people's ideas as your own. Right? I publish an article. You're just copying everything and then putting your name. So you're infringing my research capabilities, which is my work, you're showing it as well. That is called as plagiarism, which should not happen at all in research. It should be your own work. It can be wrong. It can be wrong, it should be. So don't copy the results of the other researcher, don't copy the data of the other researcher, or don't copy the whatever they have written, don't copy. So there is always a limit. If you copy more than 3 words of a research paper, then that is called as plagiarism. Right? Now we send articles to the journal, right? As researchers, we have to keep on publishing. So the first thing the journal does is that whether I copied any part of the article from other articles. So if my plagiarism report is more than 15%, that is out of that article, more than 15% is copied from others. Right away they will reject my article. They will not see it further. They will just get a mail saying that your article is rejected because you have copied so much. They will also show the sources. You have copied from this journal, you have copied from this all this you have. So plagiarism is not at all. You need to be very clear. You everything you summarize. You read an article, you read my article, and you summarize in your own words. Or if you are quoting my article, you say that I will read you Kasturi 2020 in brackets you write. That is acceptable. But you cannot lift whatever I've written and then show it. So plagiarism these days is it can be sued. I can sue you saying that if I get evidence that someone else has copied my article, I can, so which will be hampering to your career. Your career is gone. Your career is gone, you're suspended from the academic activities, nowhere, everywhere it is going to be shown that so and so has copied. So this person cannot be encouraged. So plagiarism should not be there. Yeah. So you have to use your sources correctly. If you're using you use quote and paraphrase. You have to quote the author and you should also put in quotations. Cite your sources. Use a plagiarism checker. Almost, I don't know about your college, but we all have a plagiarism software in our institution. We just send our articles to the librarian. We will check the plagiarism and say that there is no plagiarism or there is 10%, 15%. And each institution or each university has a percentage of, like our university, we allow only 10% of plagiarism. If it is above 10%, we return to the scholar and ask them to redo and then get back to us. Some universities allow 30% of it. After 30%, that thesis will be rejected or they have to work on it. So it is maximum is 15%. Yeah, I think it is. So this is about plagiarism. So if I conclude my study, I think I started with research problem, right? Then what are the characteristics of research problem? What is the focus? What is the aim? How do we write a research problem statement? And then I try to link it up with the review of literature, saying that review of literature is essential for identifying the research problem, whether it is feasible or not. So, what are the five C's of review of literature? What is the importance of review of literature? And next, since we are talking about research problem, and since we want to do research on a particular problem, we went on to see what the research ethics are. Right? And finally, we concluded with the plagiarism, copyright. Thank you all. So, any question and answer sessions before we go to the group activity? Any questions to be clarified? Anything to be clarified? Was it clear or yeah? Okay, what I want you to do is how many of you are there? Maybe two rows can become one group, two rows each, right? And then you have to, or two rows, or let us make three rows. Huh? Let us make three rows. So each group has to summarize what I said. And then one of you will come here and present. So that is about research problem, research ethics, review of literature, and end it up with plagiarism. So you discuss as a group, you write the summary of what all I said, and then one from each group will come and present. So you have about we'll start listening to you from 11:45 onwards. Till 11:45 you have the time. Three groups, no?
Yes.
Four groups.
Four rows we can do.
Four, I think so that you.
Because many are
Many
there
are.
also.
So let us make it four rows. Four rows in one group. Yeah, start coming together. Start coming together and then start thinking and writing, putting it on a paper.
We will call from this side. So these four groups come here, discuss for 5 minutes, then
Yeah.
you tell
No,
them.
no, they then others will listen.
Okay, okay.
Let them all come together. You all sit and discuss there. From 11:45 onwards, each group will come and explain. Till that time,
You can discuss
you
about
can discuss. You have to discuss. There is no plagiarism here. You have to discuss. Be serious about this work, and then let me also know how much you understood from my lecture. Thank
Hello, hello, excuse me. Okay. You are here? No, I will come in 10 minutes. Don't disturb this one. Nishad, Nishad. Yes, ma'am.